Okay, Libra, this one's for you. I'd like you to imagine you won one of those prizes and one of those tickets to like a free weekend in New York or a big city or something, or somewhere out in the planet, the universe, a nature park, whatever it is, somewhere that you've never been before, and you blink. And then what do you see in front of you? What is your perception? The reason I'm asking you to think that way is because, or to perceive things that way, is because from the Terra Illumination perspective, we've gone through a huge gateway period this month. Whether you feel it or know it or sense it or not, my perception is that it's there anyway. So, like imagine you've just arrived at a huge art gallery or something, and you're alone or with friends or family or whatever it is. You've never seen this. It's a big wonder, and you go inside the gateway, and the gateway opens up. What is there for you? What turns you on? What is weird and new? Okay, I'm relating to the Uranus and Taurus thing and the new moon in Pisces thing that just happened. And for me, it's like the gateway moment, just as you're entering like a new kingdom, a new queendom, a new arena, a new landscape, okay, new worlds. For Libra, in some ways, it's quite complicated. This is the March reports, okay? But again, this is always in flux. We're actually talking about this thing where Uranus entered Taurus, okay? Over in your 8th house of intimacy, shared resources, and also the Pisces new moon over here in your 6th house. Habits, lifestyle, health, chores, obligations, duties, things that have to be done, cleansing, clarifying, refining your life, okay? I'm not going to analyze all of that. I'm just highlighting keywords that we're going to touch upon, okay? So I'm looking at this. This is the Terra Illumination perspective. I'm looking at things from a very broad perspective right now. In fact, I'm over here, right there. This is where it's happening right now, okay? I wonder if you can figure out where this is. So Libras, I'm just going to do this short and quick. It's like a little free gift. I want you guys to have this and chew on it. Think of it as like a holiday brochure, a little glimpse, a few keywords, few notes for you to carry with you as you go through the gateway and gaze at the new landscape around you, okay? Whatever it might be, relationships, intimacy, health, those things that we touched upon at the very last second there on that astro doodle. The 6th house and the 8th house for you. Cards are already well shuffled in advance, but as you know, I like to go to the last second so that you guys are a witness. Bless this deck. Bless every single card. This deck's done many readings, and it's still going strong, apparently. So let's keep going. I'm going to keep this very short and sweet and simple, if you don't mind. So just imagine you've just arrived, okay? You're looking at your new landscape. Obviously, your life is still your life, but I'm asking you to blink and then see things from a new perspective. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges with all of this. And here's how we're going to handle it, because some of this can be disorienting. A lot of the shifts and changes that we're talking about right now can be very subtle, with the Pisces new moon stellium there and Mercury retrograde asking us to go deep within to some of the most sensitive, most delicate parts of our being, typically where we store all of our habits of self-undoing. And the idea is to cleanse, refine, and purify so that we can relate better to other human beings. Relationships are fundamental for you, okay, Libra? And especially when it comes to the deepest, most intimate part of relationship, where we lose ourselves in each other in the point of deep merger. So with the Uranus and Taurus journey beginning here for the next 7 years, that part of your life is going to change forever, okay? And the new moon in Pisces is like the gateway moment where this is happening, okay? So let's have a look. What about this weather surrounding you? Also, when we're finished with this little quickie here, we're going to look at what it is we have to say goodbye to, what it is that has to be let go and released in order to take full advantage of the new landscape. Okay, with the 6 of Cups here, my feeling is that the relationship dynamics that you have enjoyed in the past are going to become perhaps even more valuable to you in the so-called future. Uranus is the planet of the future, and we're going into it in a very earthy, down-to-earth way for you, Libra, in that part of your chart. And it has to be done very gently, very carefully, very delicately, so that you don't come unstuck with a significant loved one, and the other loved one does not come unstuck with you. It always has to be remembered that there is some kind of core of genuine love between yourself and another, Libra. Remember, this is not even a love and relationship report. This is just a snapshot of anything, okay? And we just happen to be touching on relationship as one of the core themes outside you. So you might be going through radical shifts and changes, but over a very slow, extended period of time that you will be required to do, or else. In other words, you're going to have to adapt, grow, and evolve in order to blossom, okay? In order to blossom. So whatever you thought of as your love life or your loved one or your most cherished love relationships, things are going to change in a very deep, profound way in how you integrate. How they integrate with you, but more like how you integrate with them. But it will happen in the context of love. It's just that love and relationship will become redefined for you over time. What is the situation here? Okay, with the Judgment, my feeling is that this will actually be very liberating for you, because if you've been living under like years and years of understandings in terms of dynamics of love relationship between yourself and a significant other, where there's no question, there's no doubt that this significant other is, excuse the cliche, has characteristics of the soulmate type, okay? Then there could be this sensation of like liberating yourself from them and them liberating themselves from you in terms of obsolete, redundant, older habits and patterns of your physical reality that no longer serve you or the other or the relationship in general. Now that part, the actual surrender, the actual releasing, can be very uncomfortable. But just like when we enter new chapters in life, when we deliberately choose to take advantage of this moment here, and see this gateway as an opening to new horizons, new landscapes, new opportunities to blossom or wither, thank you, then you get a glimpse of this. It's just that the new version of this is likely to be different from the old version, okay? And it's actually liberating. It's actually good for you. It's going to require deep levels of understanding, forgiveness, change of lifestyle, change of habits in yourself, and allowing that and granting that to a significant other so that they can evolve and grow and adapt and blossom just like you. It's just that it might be very weird and unpredictable in how that happens. What's the challenge with all of this? Part of it is that you knew this was coming on a very deep karmic level. That's what I'm sensing. And that there's no turning back. And you've already had glimpses of this. It's almost like, I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. But you might not have had any words for it. But now you have moved through the gateway into this whole new landscape of your life, your whole new world, whatever your map looks like. And then you start to see the consequences. Now, the thing is, you might be scared of the consequences. This is a challenging card here in this position. And when you start to see events unfold, perhaps in shocking, unpredictable ways regarding how you intimate and separate, with a significant other in ways that never happened before, it can put a lot of stress on you, on the other party, and on the relationship unless it's conducted from a very, very deeply loving perspective, as opposed to whatever you can get out of them or whatever they usually get out of you. The landscape is changing forever, So you might as well get used to it now. Take full advantage of all these energies. Take full advantage of the gateway that we're talking about here. The Pisces new moon at the ingress of Uranus into Taurus. That's what it is astrologically. And just like allow for the shift, allow for the changes to happen. So how do we do that? Because spiritually speaking, Tarot Illumination can sit here and say, oh, this is wonderful. You just liberate yourself from them and they liberate themselves from you in terms of anything and everything that's obsolete and redundant and according to the pre-existing formula of relationship. However, that can be very, very challenging, especially if you're used to this habit, this habit, this habit, this practice, this understanding of intimacy, and then all of that changes. It's all going to change. So it could be scary, okay, and uncomfortable. On the other hand, from the evolutionary perspective, it's about your growth and liberation and freedom, and it's about their growth and liberation and freedom. How you actually foster the evolution, the growth, and the adaptation for your own soul growth and evolution as individuals from a loving perspective. However, that looks in your three-dimensional landscape, like the world, the physical, tactile world around you, as measured through intimacy. Okay, so how do we deal with it? Because it's really pretty challenging. Okay, with the Eight of Pentacles here, just accept that this is a long-term journey. Okay, it's going to require like a continuous investment in the self, in the relationship, in the other party, in order to reap the benefits. It's worth it. In other words, even though at first glance you get it, you basically say, oh, I see what you're talking about, TL. I get it. Like, oh, so we're gonna like liberate each other, and my personal life's gonna change, and cool things are gonna happen. We're gonna see each other from a more spiritually evolved perspective from outer space. Wow. But that might not sit too well when it comes to basic three-dimensional life. So in order to evolve, adapt, to grow, in the Taurian manner, we're talking about slow, steady, one step at a time, one day at a time. Just do the work, pacing yourself, observing everything in a very, very methodical, stable manner, not overdoing things, not underdoing things, just doing things in a way that translate as you investing in yourself, in the one that you love, in the relationship, in a way that actually works in accordance with divine guidance, divine inspiration, so that you don't get trapped in everything that you thought was your life before this gateway moment. So it's long-term investment, long-term work, and long-term commitment, and there is value there some way, somehow. It just might not be measured or understood in the ways that you're used to already. Things are going to change irrevocably. Okay, so it's time to get used to it, time to understand that. And there's no going back. I mean, you can, if you want to, you can choose to stagnate in an evolutionary tide pool, but you're not helping yourself or helping anybody. In other words, if you resist this, then you're setting yourself up for a lot of pain unnecessarily. Okay? If you go with this, then you will adapt and grow and evolve and blossom. Okay? Now, for this to happen effectively, of course, it's going to mean having to surrender and let go of preconceptions, previous lifestyle habits, previous understandings of intimacy. Okay, so I'm going to try and get this very short and sweet for you. It'll just be one card. I'm going to read from the top and do a little secondary interpretation and leave the rest up to your imagination. You can reinterpret this however you want. Okay. Also, Libras, you can do all the sun, moon, rising triple thing, especially each one of those is different for you. It can help you get a broader perspective understanding of what we're talking about here. So I'm going to do this once more, and then I'm just going to pull the top card, all right? And that will be your card. The power of surrender. Surrender is very, very unnatural. It's a very unnatural and inhuman act. for the individual. It goes totally against the ego, but it can be one of the most powerful tools that we can muster in times of, let's say, evolutionary prerogatives, okay, where you have to evolve. You have to evolve, grow, adapt, or you wither. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to, you know what, actually I'm going to cut it. I didn't do that earlier, but this time I am going to cut it up. And then I'm going to pull the top card, which you can see already right here. It is this card. Resenters. I was going to say resenter surrendments. Excuse me, sorry. Silliness. Okay, that's Mercury retrograde. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, surrender resentments. I'm just going to read here. Holding on to resentments only poisons you. Try to forgive others, or perhaps a significant other, for their shortcomings, and keep moving forward towards positive situations in your life. In your life, okay? In other words, this is to me like a very much about a live and let live thing. And every single moment, every single time you go through either a very tiny or very significant experience between yourself and a significant loved one or loved ones in general, that would be symbolic of resistance to evolution, resistance to the new journey, that is actually a signal that would tell you you're holding on to resentments, okay? And resentment is basically, it is like a poison. And so if you keep holding on to that, you're actually stifling your own evolution. So if you literally forgive others for their journey and that they have to evolve, then you are releasing and forgiving yourself, okay? And you are giving yourself permission to evolve and grow at the same time. And then everyone is liberated, everyone is released. It just requires an act that is very unnatural by most standards, surrendering resentments. In other words, literally forgiving someone for being who they are. Instead, accepting someone for who they are and allowing for their own evolution and growth. Because I guarantee your evolution and growth is going to impact others, and the evolution and growth of others is going to impact you. So any form of resistance impedes the flow. Resentment kills, okay? It's a recipe for, it is sheer poison. It's like rust, it's like toxic fungus, and it destroys everything. So please understand, if you're feeling that energy, if you feel the energy of resentment coming up inside you, that's a very powerful signal that you are resisting your own evolution. And then that is a signal from there to release the resentment and cherish the loved one, cherish thyself, love the other, and bless them. Give them permission to evolve and grow. And in so doing, give yourself permission to evolve and grow, okay? So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you get something out of this. Thank you so, so much, dear Libras. Bye-bye.